Alright, welcome back again for, I don't know, what is this, something like number 6 in an introduction to Maya. Now, I added a bowl of oranges to my table. What we're going to go over in this lesson is a tool that I use a lot. It's probably the tool I use the most when modeling very complex objects. I'm going to go ahead and redo the chairs. So I'm going to select all 4 of the chairs and go ahead and delete them. Now the tool is called the Extrude Tool. Okay, so you can go up to Edit Mesh and Extrude, or there's a button right here. This button is typically the one I will use the most. So I'm going to grab a square, or a cube. Hit spacebar and I'll go into my top view and draw something about the size of the seat. Okay, that sounds great. Or looks great. And go into my perspective view, drag it up a little bit. Okay. Now, move it up. I'm actually going to move it away from my room altogether so I can kind of see what it is I'm working on. Now, in here, I'm going to click on my attribute editor. You can hit Control A or hit this first button to get the attribute editor open. Go to that 3rd tab. I'm going to subdivide it. Okay, I will add subdivisions to the width and subdivisions to the depth. The reason I'm dividing it up is so that I can use the extrude tool and pull out some legs. Now, I want to look at the bottom of this. Now, notice when I hold Alt to pan the camera around, I'm panning around the center of the room. I really just want to pan around my seat. The easiest way to change that is hit F on your keyboard. Hitting F will recenter your rotation, your little world around whatever object is selected. So now I want to look at the bottom. I'm going to right click and go down to face like we did before. And, well, actually, let's do this first. I'll right click and I want to go to edge. Okay, so now I can select just these edges. And what I want to do is I want to hold shift and grab these two. And I want to use my move tool and move them out. Okay, I'm going to grab these two by holding shift and move these two out. And then I'm going to grab these two. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm moving the edges out so as to create a little square right here. And what I'm going to do is select these little square faces and use them to use the extrude tool on. Now the extrude tool, what the extrude tool does is it will, my legs are not quite even, but I guess that's alright. What the extrude tool does is it essentially will grab a face or grab an edge and it will pull it out. There's really no better way to explain it, but I'll show you in just a second here. So if I just move this out a little and move this out a little, adjust it till you get about the legs the size you want. I will go ahead and right click, go to face. Now you see I have a big face here in the middle and then I have these little ones on the outside. Holding shift, I'm going to select them. So I have 4 faces selected. Go ahead and pan around and make sure that those are the only 4 you have selected. Now I'm going to go up to my extrude tool. Like I said, you can go edit to extrude, or you can go and just click on this extrude button right here on your polygons tab. Okay, so I'll click on that and it moves the manipulator and you get this one that looks like a combination of the move tool and the scale tool and the rotate tool all together. So I'm just going to click on the blue arrow and drag down. So now you see that I've just pulled those 4 faces out. So now I have what really could be construed as a seat with 4 legs. I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to use these scale tools, the little scale handles on it, so you can see that this will scale all the selected objects, or all the selected faces, from their own little center. I'm just going to scale these out and give a little accent to my legs. Hit the extrude tool again, boom, and then grab my blue arrow, and now I'm going to scale them in. So I've added just a little bit of character to the leg. Okay. Now, to make the rest of the chair, I'll right click on the object and go to Edge. Again, I want to create the back for the chair. So I'm going to select these 3 edges by holding Shift and clicking on them. Make sure you don't have any other edges selected. Hit W to put on your Move tool. Move that edge to the back. Okay. Right click, go to Face, and I'm going to select these 3 faces. Hold Shift. Now you notice I can't really select that middle face because my Move tool's in the way, so I will hit Q or put on my Selection tool. Hit Shift. There, select it. I will hit the Extrude again. Move it up. And now I've got a bit of a back for my chair. Again, I'm just going to give it a little character. I'll scale it out sideways. Again, extrude again. Move it up. Scale it in a little. Extrude again. Move it up. Scale it in a little bit more. Extrude it again. Move it up. Scale it in a lot to give it kind of a almost a rounded back. Okay. Now, we could put arms on it, but I think not. I think I'll just leave it this way, and right click on it and go to Object Mode, reselect it. Now I have a chair that's a little bit more interesting than the square ones, and it's actually one entire object. So again, I'm going to go right click on it, go to Assign Existing Material, and go to Table. We'll make it the table brown. Hit the space bar, go into my top view, zoom out, see my chair's way down here, grab my Move tool, move it in. Again, Control D duplicates. I'm just going to duplicate them all, put them roughly in place, and then rotate them. Hit E to put the Rotate tool on, rotate it, select this one, rotate it, select this one. Do the same. Actually, we'll leave this one out like I did before. Okay. Now, you can have a lot of fun with this extrude tool. I'm just going to point out this little bowl that I made. I made that with the extrude tool. I'm going to hit F to center my pivot around it. So you can see it's transparent, and we'll do that very quickly. I've got about a minute and a quarter left, so let's see if we can do this. Go ahead and create a polygon sphere. Okay, so click and drag to create it. You may not be able to see it because it's going to be on the floor or behind my table or whatever. Move it up, move it over onto the table. Okay, now what I did, I didn't want it to be a perfect sphere, but okay, we'll do this. Right click on it, go to face mode, the exact same way that we made the room, only I'm going to click and drag so that I get pretty much the entire top half. Go ahead and look around, make sure you got it. Okay, if you hold Shift, it will add to your selection. Okay, if you hold Control, it will subtract from your selection. I don't really need to. So once I've got that top half selected, hit Delete. Boom. Okay, go back to Object Mode, select the bowl. You got the first half. Move it up so you can see the whole thing. Okay. Again, go back to Face Mode. Right click, go to Face. Select the rest of the faces. Okay, so I've got it all selected. Click the Extrude tool. Okay, now this is where, rather than use these tools, I'll just put on my Move tool. I want to move it up, and then I want to put on the scale tool and I want to scale it in these two directions. So there we go, I have a bowl. Okay, you can do whatever it is you want to make your bowl, but when you apply a material to it, like I have one called purple glass, you assign a blend or whatever, just like normal, give it a color, but this transparency slider right underneath that will make it transparent so you can see through it. So slide that around and see and play with that. So then that's about it for this lesson. We'll go ahead and see you in the next one.